Fantastic, Dalton. This is magnificent. Welcome to the Auto Dealership Academy podcast. You have been a student and member for well over 3 years, right? Starting with,
Technically, yeah. Yeah.
yeah, maybe even four. My
hmm
goodness, how that time has flown by. You were, what I'm going to say is a COVID start, right? You came into the business, I think, during the inventory shortage or just towards the tail end of the inventory shortage at the previous Chrysler dealership. Am I right about
Yeah.
that?
No, it was Kia originally. At the very end of like the sh like no, like yeah, like perfect short yeah, like right in the middle of the shortage. Like there was no new Kias on the lot whatsoever. It would be like we'd get a vehicle to drop and everybody had a list of like 15 customers to call. Like, yeah, it was wild times.
Yeah, and it was easy, right? Like everybody talks about how easy it was. You had it so easy, no inventory, selling for MSRP. Customers had to
Yeah.
take whatever you've got, only take the color. Was it really that easy? Or
Yeah,
was it
funny enough,
difficult in a
like
different way?
yeah, no, like it was different for me. Like I mean, yeah, if you were in the business or whatever, but I just got in, I was super green, just stumbled upon it and yeah, I just had my second baby, so I was freshly green and like looking back now, I'm just wow, I can't believe how green it was. Like but anyways, yeah, it was a good time to sell cars. At the time I didn't know because I was still struggling, but yeah, like looking back, yeah, it was an easy time to sell cars than now. Like,
But was it really fun? Because everybody says anybody starting in the business right now is looking at you being a veteran now and saying, "Oh, it was so easy before. People just came in and bought." But they couldn't pick what they wanted, right? And how long did you not have any cars to show anybody on the lot for? How many days? How many weeks? How many months
oh,
did that go?
it'd be yeah, like months. Like it would just like things would rent. Like again, I was green, so like I didn't know how to check like like our inventory bank of what's coming in and all this stuff. So it'd just be like a Forte would drop and it'd be like, what? Like a Forte? Like, so then everybody you'd have your list and yeah, like it was like yeah, like it was easy to sell because even though like the scarcity was so high that it didn't matter if they wanted red and you had blue, they were taking the blue because that was the only one they could get. Like so it was like, hey man, if you don't want it, like I'm gonna call three other people like right after this. So like it was super easy. Yeah.
Looking back, it was super easy, but right
Yeah.
now, look, thinking back and putting yourself in those shoes, it wasn't that easy. It
Yeah.
wasn't a lot of fun, and you
No,
had zero certainty, right? You had no idea what
yeah.
was coming down the pipe.
Yeah, that was the tough part was that like yeah, that's a great way to actually put it because when you had the Forte come in, it was easy because you had such a long list of customers, but there's those days and weeks where you didn't have a Forte and it's like how are you going to close them? Like can you switch them to a pre-owned like and then trying to put them in a pre-owned it's like way more expensive. They're like, "Oh, I'd rather just wait for, this new one because it's the same price as the pre-owned that's 2 years old." Like so yeah, it was definitely a headache for sure.
So then
Definitely.
you moved forward to another Chrysler dealership, and now you're still with the brand Chrysler, which is fantastic. You were involved in our system at the way back, and then you took a little bit of a lull and a hiatus, and walk us through that when you came from Kia, you went to Chrysler. Now you had some more structure. You got introduced to our one system of three phases and nine steps. You had the classes. You and I chatted a little bit, and then all of a sudden you went quiet. And I assumed that, well, sales are just so crazy, and it
Yeah.
was, I think, the second quarter of the year, which is normal. That's to be expected. And then all of a sudden you resurfaced again a little
Yeah,
later
so
on, and you were like, "Hey, Bill, I need this," and I was like, "Okay, where are you now?" Because you're at a different dealership that wasn't a subscriber, and you wanted this for your own. So take us through your struggle when you moved from Kia to Chrysler, and then building your portfolio, and then moving on to this next dealership that you're at.
yeah, so the jump from Kia to Chrysler wasn't like just like your regular job switch. It was 22, and then I ended up getting back into it was like a 2 year hiatus because obviously, being new to the business, sales, you're not making enough to when you first get in the business to provide for, a family, right? So, yeah, I ended up having to go get a stable job and then got back up on my feet and I was like, okay, like I really liked that like stint that I had there at Kia. Like, like I think I'm ready, like, to hop in this full time. I kind of know like what a day to day would, entail. And if I can fire it up, then, I can make, a good career out of it. So then, yeah, long story short, I ended up getting a job at Wellington. And that's where I met Jeff, who's also a student of yours. And then, yeah, like I came in and, it was good. And then he's like, hey, like, like, he's managing a bunch of people, so at the end of the day it's not like he can spend all of his time with me. So he's like, yo, I'm gonna have you, call Bill Harvey. I'm like, who's Bill Harvey? He's like, trust me, man, like you'll like the guy, he's high energy like you, is what he told me. So
Great.
I'm like, okay, perfect. So then call with you, and then you're like, yeah, I'll set you up with the manifesto. And I'm like, perfect. So then, I get in and then things just start booming. So like I start trying to do the training, but then I'm just, it was hot. I'm starting to sell a ton of cars, and I'm like, training. Who needs training when you're selling cars like this? And then that quickly abrupted, and yeah, yeah, you know how it goes. It's ups and downs, and so yeah, I was going through it down, and unfortunately, the company that I was working for started going downhill as well, and managers started leaving. It was just a mess. So I thought I needed to. I really love the brand, like very passionate about the brand. Stellantis, and I was like, I got to do something. So then Killender called me and said, "Hey, I have an opportunity for you with a guy that I used to work for." And yeah, so then took the job here in Fergus, and it's a small town, so everything's good. It's a great group of people and everything, but you don't just get to sit at your desk and wait for juicy walk-ins to come in that are just full of meat and deep pockets that don't care. And yeah, so it was a little bit different. So I came in, it was good, and still selling cars, but I'm just noticing that I got more time and, like, twiddling my thumbs and, oh, like, it would be so much better if it were like this. So then I remember I still was like in like the Thursday classes, so I'd join the Thursday classes and, get a little bit of, information. I was like, okay, cool. Use that here, use that there. And then I was like, yeah, I got to take it to the next level because I love it. Like, and this is what it is. This is the career, this is the gig. So I'm like, I really have to take it next level. And you watch all those guys on YouTube and stuff like that. But I like, having worked with you, I was like, I think this is the real deal. This is, not some United States thing or some, guru thing. It's like, right here, in the same province with the same markets and customers, and having past experience with Jeff and Kevin, like all these guys that swear by it. I'm like, okay, I think I got to make that jump. So then I reached out to you and got a little hesitant there, and then yeah, ever since then just been trying to plug away at it. So
Fantastic. So going through the steps and attending the classes and doing our one-on-ones and really being on that schedule of one-on-ones, that's the most important thing, right?
yeah,
That's where you really solidify how your behavior has to change, right? The
yeah,
consumer behaviors unquestionably change. And that's the biggest frustrating part about selling automobiles. Selling cars, trucks, vans, SUVs hasn't changed. In my opinion, you tell me if I'm right or wrong there, hasn't changed at all. I mean, customer still comes to the dealership, still picks from our inventory now that we've solved the inventory shortage. And then, of course, we write them up and we put them in the business office and they get financed and we deliver the car and we're on to the next one. That part fundamentally has not changed. How the
yeah,
buyer buys, I think it's changed a lot. I think a lot of people
yeah,
are really hoping that Amazon figures out how to sell cars. I think there a
yeah.
lot of people are really hoping that they can figure out how not to have to come to the dealership. And I don't really know why, because when they do come in, they're really quite happy. They
Hmm.
really quite enjoy the experience, but maybe they're putting on a half. Anyhow, that aside, when you went through the steps and I think you're still working your way through the manifesto.
Yeah. Yeah.
What, take us through that story of struggle where you were not sure what to do, and then you decided, I got to take this to the next level. I'm buying, I'm investing in myself, and it was a significant decision for you, right?
Big time.
And now you're over the hurdle, and take us back to the sales that you were making just 3, 4 months ago,
Yeah.
and now the sales that you're making last month. I know you had a
Yeah.
great, I know not even last month, the month before last, you had a really great month.
Yeah.
So
So,
take us back a
yeah.
quarter of the year back, and then fast forward, bring us up to this point.
Yeah. So, yeah, like when I was thinking I was averaging about 8 cars. You know, I'd have a 12-month here or 10-month here, but yeah, I was averaging about 8 cars. And
Can you make a living on that? Like everybody's going to want to know that. Anybody who's trying to get into the business here or anybody
yeah,
struggling.
if they're all pounders.
And
Yeah,
how many deals are
if you're
pounders?
making 10 G's gross on each one, yeah, sure, but it's not realistic. Like,
It's not 2020 anymore. It's not
yeah, so
2021.
no, you definitely can't make a healthy like you like can you have a good month on 8 cars? Yeah, for sure, but money wise, I mean, but like can you survive off it? No, because 8 cars isn't it's not you don't make yeah, no, you can't. But yeah, so anyways, going back, yeah, signing up and following through just gave me a certain level of certainty on because that was one of the biggest things was like how do I spend my day? Like what do I do to gain business? Like I don't want to just wait for the phone to ring or wait for someone to come in and be like, wow, like you have this. It's like, oh, I've been waiting for you, like so it's like it gave me a level of certainty of like where to be spending my time, my valuable time. And yeah, so like averaging 8 cars, and then it gives you that like sense of like what's that thing that you say, follow one course until successful. So it's
Good for you.
that whole thing of like you know step by step, and like I started noticing myself like before, like I'd always just like talk. It's good to be a talker, but it's more important to be a listener. So it's like following, learning each step. It's like I'm now listening to the conversation. My client that I'm listening to them to try and see what I can pull out from like the course. Like you know what I mean. So it's like
Good for
I'm
you.
sitting here and it's like now it's not just like, oh, I have my process. I welcome them. I bring them to my desk. I qualify them. We make a selection, go out, test drive, trade, and then negotiation. Like it's just, you know, that's what most people teach you. But now I'm sitting here and like, I'm like, hey, like, would you come in to see and drive today? And then they're like, oh, well, like I don't know if you can give me enough for my trade. So it's like before I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, like we'll get to your trade. But it's like, oh, like, let's start there, man. Let's go. Give me the keys to your trade. Let's go right out to it. Like, tell me about it. Like, and like trying to, hear, like listen and, use the system to guide you, right? And it's not just a straight line, but you got to touch all the steps. So, anyways, using that, I've watched my confidence go up, and I like the one thing that you told me too is like, you got to sell the car like you don't need to sell the car, right? Like if you're breathing commission breath on them, then it just you can feel it, like especially after when the customer walks away, you're like, damn, like I did it again. So yeah, just being more confident in selling, like like just selling, like, and
What
yeah, so
I think a lot of people like yourself, Dalton, don't realize is that when I started selling automobiles, we didn't have the internet.
yeah,
And the internet has mixed the car business up, but it's also made selling a whole lot easier.
yeah,
Because
for
when you
sure,
don't have the internet and the client can't spend a decent amount of time researching the one vehicle that they'd like to have,
yeah,
they would have to come into the dealership and they'd have to ask you this plethora of questions that they still weren't ready to buy for the next 6 months. And the frustrating part was here we're doing these great presentations and we really know the product inside and out. And the client goes, okay, great. This is super. don't overstep your boundary. Don't tick me off because I
Yeah.
plan on coming back to you in 6 months. It's just, I'm not ready to buy for 6 months. Now, client can do that at 4 o'clock in the morning when they're
Yeah.
so excited about buying an automobile. And then they come in to see you. That's where those activities, and you did a great job. But I think for anybody watching the podcast, they're probably not picking up on the fact that that customer that came in and tell us about your struggle you had before you had the manifesto when the customer came in and said, you know what, I don't want to see and drive anything just yet. I don't know if you can give me enough for my trade.
Yeah.
You did so well there by saying, well, let's go and have a look at it. There's two ways to handle that. And
Yeah.
that's something that I present to you guys all the time too. You can go out and have a look at the trade, but you're still not going to tell them what it's worth.
No, 100% not.
Or you can say, well, what did you come in today to replace your trade with? Which
Yeah.
is again, see and drive, right?
Yeah.
And now you have that certainty of a plan that if they don't see it and drive it, they're not going to get excited about it. And so it
$100.
doesn't matter what I offer them for their trade. I can offer them more than what marketplace and trader can offer. And they'll
Yeah.
still say, okay, well, let me think about it, which means I didn't build the value bridge, or they want to shop around. They can't believe that you can give them that much for their trade. Maybe I can do better somewhere else. The point that happens in the manifesto is that we keep coming back to the activities that lead to the sale.
Yeah.
It's not so much, the process and the procedure of selling.
Yeah.
That's stringent. That's no fun. And that's where you become mechanical. So
Yeah.
take us through the struggle, when before someone would say, what's my trade worth? And you didn't know what to do, to now you know
Yeah.
exactly how to handle it. Take us through the struggle of that, and what you see
Yeah.
other average ordinary automobile salespeople struggle with when they don't have a plan.
Yeah. So again, yeah, that goes into, like you have to, like what I've learned is you have to lead, right? Like
Hey, watch your camera. It's really
oh,
shaky.
sorry.
No problem. Keep going.
You have to lead, right? Like, and not in an aggressive or assertive way. Like you have to make the client feel like they're, lead, like they're in charge, but you're also navigating what they're in charge of, if that makes sense, right? So it's like,
Good for you.
they come in and they're like, oh, like, I'm so worried about my trade. So then it's like, yeah, perfect. Like, let's get that right in the way. But then that goes into what you said. Like, I'm not going to give them the number. I'm going to be like, hey, man, this takes 20 minutes, for my, my appraiser to do. So, like, what did you come in to see? So I'll pull that up. And while he's doing that, we can go out on a drive in this thing. Like, you know what I mean? And
And is
as I
that
said,
20
like,
minutes real or is that hocus pocus?
no, like, I mean, here it's real. Like, I don't know about other, like, I know I've seen appraisals take 30 seconds and then it's a whole slew of problems once the vehicle comes in because it wasn't properly looked at, right? Like, we have trades, especially unique units that we'll bring in, put up on the hoist and, like actually, look at it, right? So, no, it's not a hoax at all. Especially if the customer's adamant that they want the most for their trade. Like, okay, then you got to let us do the most to value it. Like, so yeah, no,
It
definitely.
really does. It does only take about a minute to appraise it, right? When your used car buyer goes out and has a look, does a walk around, even if he puts it in the shop, maybe 10 minutes tops. But again, coming back to your plan,
Yeah,
right? When you say, let me go and get the used car appraiser to go, he's not sitting there waiting for your customer to come in, is he?
no,
So he probably has other things to do, right?
100%.
So the 20 minutes, the half an hour it's going to take to appraise your car isn't because it takes us a half an hour to figure out what your car is worth.
Yeah,
It
no,
takes
like you could
20
plug it. You
minutes.
you could
Takes
scan
20
the
minutes
VIN
to
and just
get them out there, doesn't it?
yeah, yeah,
And isn't that the difference with the
yeah,
manifesto with our teaching, right? It's like, no, 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 that the half an hour, it doesn't take a half an hour to appraise your car. Right? Like when you got this through one of our one-on-ones, you're like, oh yeah, that's true. When I think like a customer, it takes a half an hour to appraise my car. No, it takes 5 minutes.
yeah,
But understand, my manager wasn't sitting here with an appointment waiting for you to show up so
yeah.
that he could drop everything and go out. He's got three or four things ahead of you.
No, 100%.
That's the 25 minutes of the half an hour.
Yeah,
So why don't we just make our time as useful as possible here? Let's go ahead and have a look at the one you want to replace it with. And that's how we get them in the activities, isn't it?
yeah.
And now you do, one of the things that you said once before was, Bill, like I can't lie to customers. I'm not good at lying to. I'm not good at making that stuff up. And I said to you, what part are we making up?
Yeah.
Isn't that what happens? And you thought of it and go, yeah, that kind of is what happens. And doesn't that
Yeah.
make it real? And isn't that the confidence that you were looking for?
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. So take us
Exactly.
from the struggle of that. I don't know if you can give me enough for my trade. Build the value bridge to, yeah, we can give you enough for your trade. No problem at all.
Yeah.
And making the payments affordable. Take us through that. And use a real life example if you want. Like people are looking for your I was here, now I'm here, and I want to be there, right?
Hmm.
Take us through that.
Yeah. What do you mean? Sorry. What do you mean? Take you through it? Like, what do you mean?
So now when you take them through the activities that lead to the sale, right?
Yeah.
And pardon me, excuse me. So the guy says, and you could say this, and I'll edit a lot of this out. You just say, like last week, Bill, for instance, let's talk in real hard examples. Last week I had a guy drove in with a Ram, good looking truck, clearly looked after it, did as you said, probably staged it. It really looked good. Took us a little bit. The used car buyer wasn't available right away, so we went and had a look at the new trucks, and he wanted he wanted what he saw them going for on Marketplace. And I had to tell him, or I had to share
Yeah.
with
Actually,
him.
funny. Yeah. Okay. I get it. Yeah. I do have a good example, actually.
Yeah, and you got to
Funny
share with
enough.
him. You don't get what you're asking for on Marketplace on trade-in. In
No, definitely not.
fact, you don't get what you're asking for on Marketplace ever anyway. They always come in and negotiate with you anyway. So take
Yeah.
us through that.
Yeah, so yeah, yeah, basically, yeah. So I walked, there's custom, husband and wife walking on the lot, and I walked out and, hey, what do you want to see and drive today? And they're like, oh, we're just looking. And I was like, yeah, like 100% looking at what? And they're like, yeah, like, we got a Durango, but, like I love it. Like I truly, like I don't know if I want to upgrade. So then, I just started asking them like questions about what she likes about her Durango and, all this stuff and the kilometers. So now I know it's out of warranty and then, asking if it's had any problems. She's like, no, but I did just have to replace this or camshafts and all this stuff. And I'm like, hey, like, that's a known issue, that they have from, 2018 to 2020. So, it's not like you're the only one in that boat. And so then I'm, qualifying them. What color is it? She's like white. I'm like, would you do white again? And she's like, yeah, like I love the white. So then I'm like, perfect. It's good that we're looking at a white one then. Like,
Good for you.
as we're out front. And so then I'm like, give me 2 minutes. Let me grab the keys. So I go in, I grab the keys, and I come out and. I open it up for them and I open the lift gate and she's familiar with it, so I'm letting her kind of feel out the new stuff because and then so anyways, she sits down and she's like, oh wow, like this is different. I'm like, so then I start going through the things that are different. The screen, the wireless charger, the ventilated seat, like, the sunroof and she's like, oh, like, like this, this is, really nice. She looks over at her husband and I'm like, I did grab my dealer plate while I was inside. Like, let's just take it out for a quick spin. So then she's like, no, like I don't want to waste your time. I'm like, listen, like I'm, ma'am, or obviously I said her name. I was like, listen, ma'am, like I'm here all day, so you're not wasting my time at all. So I put the plate on, and I was like, let me back it out for you because the lot's a little tight. So I back it out for them. That's when like I hit like a couple exterior things. I'm like, so you'll notice that on the 25s they did a full remodel on the grill, and like look at the sport hood. She's like, oh, I love the sport hood. I'm like, oh, okay, that's good. So then put the plate on, we go for a ride. And I'm like, actually just turn right here because I just want you to step on it and bring it up to 90. So then she brings it up to 90 and then I got this one road as well that I go down that's like specifically rough. And I bring like obviously I select which vehicle I'm gonna bring down that road, but I wanted to show her the difference between a 25 and a 2018, just that it's brand new shocks and everything, right? So I bring her down. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna let you know this road is bumpy. I just wanted you to feel like how smooth it is, even under, bad conditions. So she goes and she's like, oh wow, like, and I was like, yeah, I know, like, I purposely bring you down this road just so you can feel that. And then, anyways, like, we go back and she's like, yeah, so the biggest thing, that like, caught my attention was something along the lines of her trade. She said, don't lowball me or you'll piss me off. So I'm like,
Wow,
oh
that's bold.
yeah. So I'm like, but my mind registered. I'm like, so she definitely got lowballed. You know what I mean? Like,
Good for
so,
you.
yeah, I'm like, she definitely got lowballed because why would she say that? This vehicle is almost, it's like 7 years old. Like, she just get it appraised all the time. Like, so then I'm like, okay, no, I won't load. Like, I'm not gonna waste your time. And she's like, don't, like, I'm sorry, like, like, I just, I don't think I'm buying, like, I'm buying today, and and then that's when I hit her with just like a little drop after the test drive. I'm taking my plate off, and I'm like, what if the deal was like smoking hot though? And she's like, well, don't. If the deal was smoking hot, then you'd have me. I'm like, okay, perfect. Let's go inside. So
Irresistible offer. Good for
exactly.
you.
So then we go inside. I sit down, and that's when I grab the keys. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna go out, with my manager. You okay if he takes it for like a little spin just to make sure everything's running right, doesn't hear any noises. So then they're like, yes. So then we go about, come back in. And but I'm like, hey, he's finishing up, with getting the numbers and stuff. Like, we're like, when I said a smoking hot deal, like, what would be irresistible to you? Like, like, what's a number that, like, what are you currently paying? She's like, oh, well, I don't have any payments. That's kind of my thing. Is like, she's like, I'm an accountant, and like, I don't like payments. I was like, no, I completely understand. But I was like, if there were to be a payment, like, what would be something that like you're like, oh, Dalton, like that's irresistible to me. I could not do that. I'm just curious. I just want to know, like, I'm gonna get the numbers either way. It's just, I always like to know. And she's like, oh, Dalton, it's like I just don't have. I was like, okay, yeah, sounds good. Like, let me get the numbers and we'll go from there. So then I go in and I get like a few options, 25 down, zero down, whatever. And I show her the 0% 72 months. And
She's an accountant. She's got to get that.
oh, 100%.
Where
Yeah.
can you borrow money for 0%?
Exactly. Yeah. No, so she was, yeah. And she knew that too. That was one of the things that I asked them too. And, they were like, oh, I'm just looking. I'm like, oh, perfect. Like, were you here for a 0% or, or big discounts? And then that's when she noted the 0%. So, but anyway, so I bring the numbers, and then I told my manager, I was like, listen, man, like, I know normally, we, back and forth, back and forth. I'm like, I want to go in like smoking hot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to give her a great offer and let her know, like, this is the great offer. And then, so, anyways, I come back, I'm smiling. I use like a folder, just like a little thing. I use like a nice sleek black folder that I have my worksheet on. So that when I come in, I like open it up. Like, I face it there when I like open it up. So it's like, I don't know, a little bit of like excitement, professionalism. I don't know. So, anyways, I come back, I'm smiling huge. I'm like, if this isn't a smoking hot deal, then I don't know what is. And I put my paper down, I flip it, and she goes, and that's plus tax. I'm like, no, that's tax in. She's like, no, like no, like you. I'm like, no, like now you got like I said to her, like, now you got me second guessing. Like, let me just go ask my manager, make sure this is tax in. I knew it
Everything
was
starts
tax
with an
in.
attitude, right?
Yeah,
It
so
was
I
your
knew it was
attitude
tax
walking
in.
in. You're like, if this isn't smoking red hot, I don't know what is.
Yeah,
Good
no,
for you.
exactly. So then, yeah, anything. Long story short, everything worked out. They ended up buying that day, new Durango, and then she ended up telling me, like, as I'm taking the deposit for the deal, I'm like, I gotta ask, like, who lowballed you? And then she told me the dealership and what they gave her, and I was like, three, like they super lowballed her too. And yeah, we just gave her
Foolish.
what it was worth, and she was like just super happy with it, and yeah, it worked out very well. But that was one of those ones where it's just like, as I was saying earlier in the conversation, was my mind's like clicking, as in like, oh, like this is where we are, and this is where we got to go, and she's saying this, but I know that this is the best. And again, I'm not perfect, you know what I mean? I still have so much to go, and so much training to learn and everything, but that's just one of those examples where it's like everything was just firing on all cylinders. Like, like she's like giving me all these objections. I'm like, come on, of course. Like, I wouldn't, I wanted you to say that. Like,
Good for you. So people will
so
buy first visit.
100%. Those are, yeah, 100%.
Good for you. Can you see the difference? What were you doing when you were doing averaging 8 cars a month? Were they buying
Well,
first visit?
it really goes into, a lot of it for me personally, and maybe, your other students or other people looking to, step it up. And a lot of it is mindset. And you really have to adopt, and it's super hard. Don't get me wrong. Like, still to this day, like, I struggle and I learn. But the mindset of everybody's a buyer, like, you know what I mean? So
Good for you.
when they hit you with, like, before, if someone said, oh, I'm not buying today, I'm like, fuck, like, this is my up, like, I'm not gonna get another up for the whole day, and like, these guys aren't buying today, like, you know what I
Yeah, but
mean?
what are
Like,
they buying? What are they buying, Dalton? What have
well,
you said all the
exactly.
way along? What are they buying?
They're either buying, their new car, or they're buying their current car with, so
Everyone's
that's
a
it.
buyer.
Exactly. So yeah, no, and like having that mindset, and so, like, this time around, it's like, that she says, like, I'm not buying today, and I'm like, of course you're not buying yet, like, I haven't given you enough to want to buy. Like, so let me show you exactly why it'd be a perfect time to buy.
Good for you. And
Yeah.
it's that value bridge, the activities that
Oh,
take them from their old car, no payments, Durango. She's clearly happy with it, even the and she's happy with it because she spent what sounds like a significant amount of money fixing the
yeah,
engine
yeah,
and now trading it in. I mean, as an accountant, it's like I just invested good money after bad money.
yeah.
It's really foolish of me. And maybe that's why she feels that the other dealership lowballed it. Now, the other dealership, wow, can you see the carelessness of giving someone a figure before they're
Well, she
committed?
actually mentioned to me as well. So, shout out Dealer Academy again, because yeah, she's like, yeah, and like, the salesman just pissed me off. Like,
Good for you.
yeah, and like that's just, that's such like a pat on your back, like, like,
Isn't it though?
because it's like, yo, if I didn't do a good job, she would have walked just like she did at the other place.
Yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? So it's like I had to have done something right. But
you
um
definitely did something right. You definitely
yeah,
did a
that's one of
lot of
those
things
ones.
right.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
for
it's one of those
you.
ones.
Oh my gosh. So walk us through now what you've learned from the manifesto and what you do on a daily basis. You made reference earlier to you spend a lot of time not knowing what to do, now
Yeah.
feeling so much more confident that you know what to do with your day.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that, like, I'm really working on. Like, there's so much room for improvement, as there always is, but I'm still fresh to, this part of the system, and, this whole, like, yeah, in general, the whole system together. But this part, prospect harvesting, and, really trying to work my database and my customers. It's something that, like, I honestly didn't do before, really. Like, and I hate to say it, but it was kind of like one of those, like, you know, sale and dump kind of things. Like, you know what I mean? It was like, oh, I got, I worked so hard to get the sale, and it's like, see ya, like, and not like literally meaning that. It's just that's the way it would go. Like, so like now it's like, really trying to, like, follow up with my customers, and, really emphasizing on like my referral program, and, you know what I mean, trying to, touch base with people, and like, and not like a commission breath, like, hey man, like, you got referrals, like, I'll cut you a check, like, you know what
Good
I
for
mean? But
you. Yeah, they hate
like,
that.
touching base with them, like, hey, like, everything's good, like, like, everything's, don't have any questions with the vehicle whatsoever, like, I know you were super excited when you picked it up, so I just want to make sure that, there's nothing that, I can help you with. No, no, Don, that's good. So perfect. That's all I called for. And just, don't just, remember, like, I do have that referral program if, anybody, I'm just trying to get more familiar with, getting more comfortable and confident. I'm confident with greeting people and walk arounds, obviously need to improve, but, confident. And that's kind of one of the aspects right now that I'm trying to work on, get more confident, and, not sound pushy or salesy with getting referrals and stuff. And my day really consists of, calling them, in the mornings, and, holidays, and really trying to work the service department. So I just started doing this new thing where, while customers' cars are in service, I'll go to my service manager and, say, hey, like, what appointments do you got today? What units are older? And, while they're in the shop, I go and scan their VIN, and, get a number on their trade. And then I put together like this sheet of, like, um,
Good
like,
for
your
you.
vehicle today is worth X, get into a new one for as low as, and then I put a picture of like a new one, and then I email that to them and I text it to them, and then as they're sitting in the showroom, not right after I send it, I'll be like, hey, like, Karen, and she'll be like, yeah, like, hey, this is Dalton, I just emailed you that, that flyer, in regards to your vehicle. It's just, I seen it in the shop, and there's no pressure or anything. I just wanted to let you know where you currently sit today, and if you had any questions on anything, let me know. And then she's like, yeah, like, they really like that, and it kind of just gives them that, like, it's like planting seeds, right? Like, and yeah, and then yeah, just obviously call lists and stuff like that, and leads, and phone, just constantly working those, and
Good for you.
yeah,
Good
just
for you.
trying to stay productive.
Something that you can think about as well when the client hasn't said I want to buy or I might replace my vehicle or we're thinking or we're shopping or we're doing our research, when they haven't said that, and they haven't in this particular case, that example that you gave us, which was
Yeah,
great. Sometimes what you can do instead as a better hook, right? Because that's really what you're after. You're only trying to hook them.
yeah,
You've got a little bit of a story, which is good. And your irresistible offer is probably not going to be irresistible yet because they're not in shopping ownership mode. So your hook at the very beginning to captivate their attention is no price. But at the same time, you have to disclose some kind of a price because they can't make a decision to purchase unless they
yeah,
know how much it costs. So you could say, we had a look at your vehicle, taking in on trade, capitalizing on our 0%, you could be in the same price or possibly even lower. I just thought I'd mention it. And
yeah.
boom, that's all you say, right? Can you
True.
see
Yeah.
how
Okay.
irresistible that hook is?
Yeah.
Same price or lower. Well, he doesn't know what I'm paying.
Yeah.
He doesn't know how many payments I've got left. How does he know it could be less? Maybe they do know that. I don't know. And the customer's going through all that and they're like, I could get into a new vehicle with a totally protected payment for the same or possibly less with 0%. Now they'll reach out to you. Now you got to go
Yeah.
take
That's
them through
very.
your
Yeah. That's good. That's very good. Yeah. I like that. I'm gonna
then you got to
switch
take them
that.
through your story, which is your walk around, your demonstration drive, right? And then your irresistible offer will be just like you did with the Durango. Here you go. If you say no to this, I don't know how I can help you.
Yeah.
I don't know how anybody can help you. That would even be better. Not I, but I don't know how anybody can help you.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
they
See, I
realize
love
that
talking to you, man. Honestly.
they're at the end of their road,
Okay.
right? And they're like, well, I
Yeah.
may as well do it. Anyhow, just a thought.
a
That
hundred
came.
percent.
So take us through when you were struggling with 8 cars a month. What did you do last month? How many cars did you sell last month? Sell and deliver.
So yeah, selling. Well, I sold 19,
Whoa,
and
no
then I
way. Good for
delivered
you.
16. Yeah.
Sold 19. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the month before that,
I think it was 12.
and the month before that, you started the manifesto right at the end of the month.
Yeah.
So you've been
Yeah.
on for almost 2 full months now, 2.5 months
Yeah.
maybe.
I'd say.
And you've gone from 8 cars a month to 19 last month.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Good for
I
you,
know it's got to
Dalton.
keep going, man. That's it. That 19's nice, but 19 three times in a row would be crazy.
You can do
So
it. You can
that's
do it,
it. No,
right?
that's it.
Just stick to the plan. Every shopper's a buyer, and anybody will trade in and up for new, shiny, latest and greatest technology, better fuel economy, protected by a full warranty, if you tell them how affordably they could do so, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what happened with the Durango. That was fantastic. Good for you. What advice would you give somebody, that is struggling? They've been in the business 6 months and more, some of them 5, 10 years. They know that they need help. They know they need training. They don't believe every shopper is a buyer. They feel like they're competing with everybody on the showroom floor. They're not getting the support they desperately need. You went through that. We had that
Yeah.
conversation leading up to you joining the manifesto. What would you say to them?
I would say, like, yeah, like, obviously, not trying to sound corny, but like, have hope. And
Good.
you got to be open-minded, and I know, it's, like me, I was, terrified to, you know spend money on, it's like the unknown, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, like, I know this course has so much value, and this trading program has so much value, but it's like, wow, like, what if it doesn't work out? Like, what if, like, the results stay the same? Like, and the nervousness, and I think this is a perfect program for it. Like, as you know, like you building like a community around it, right? So um yeah, I would definitely say, like, take the plunge, and I would definitely say invest in yourself, right? Like, um yeah, like to me it's, it was, from going, worried each day on how I'm gonna do this to, like, how can I do more? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't know. I'd definitely say, like, just, take the plunge on investing in yourself. And someone, like my mentor said to me after I had invested in the course. Oh, sorry, to me. Um, After I invested in the course, my mentor had said to me, you can never invest too much in yourself. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, is it a good chunk of money? Yeah, it 100% is. But, like, like, can you see yourself, being better at the end of it? And it's like, yeah, 100%. It's like, then there you go. It's like a book. Like, it's $20, but, like, how much value? What if you get $25 worth of value out of the book? Like, now you're up $5. Like, you know what I mean? So
You
yeah, I
know
would
why,
definitely
you know
say.
why, you know why people don't buy books?
Why?
You know why people don't do courses? You know why you struggled to do the course? Or why, pardon me, you struggled to invest in doing the course. You know why you struggled with that?
Why?
More than 80% of people, 82.3% of people do not read the book they just purchased.
Yeah.
They do not do the work.
Yeah.
They invest in the system, they buy the system, and then they don't do it, Dalton. And
I
what
know. And that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing too. Yeah, great point. Is That's what, yeah, you have to put it, like, do not, you can't spend money on, investing in yourself and then just think, oh, I spent the money, like, now I'll be crazy good. Like,
can you
no, you have to
imagine?
you have to be in you have to be like, you correct me if I'm wrong, but, like, you have to have a really good work ethic to be successful. It doesn't matter what you do, like, you know what I mean? So, like, you get the training program, it will absolutely skyrocket you, but, like, it's not just gonna do it itself. Like, you know what I mean? You have to put in the work, and it takes time, right? Like, that's one of the things that we've discussed too, is like, it's not an overnight success. And that's one of the biggest selling points of to me, that was one of the biggest selling points of the program, was like, oh, so, like, that, like, in 8 months, when, like, like, if something's not working out, like, I can just go back and, you know what I mean, open it. Like, my goal is to always just, refresh myself every day on something, like, you know what I mean, whether it be closing aberration or prospect harvesting or biology, like, it doesn't matter. Like, for refresh your mind with something, like, you know what I mean. And that's the cool thing about it too, is it's not an overnight thing, and you have this program to guide you through, even, after you're killing it and you're killing it, and then, oh, so you go through a little slump, and it's like, how do I get out of the slump? It's like, oh, then you start reading through, it's like, oh, fuck, like, I've been talking to customers like this, or I've been thinking this, and like, it's been killing me. So I like, yeah.
Before you
I think that's
came into the
important.
system, did you believe that every shopper was a buyer?
No, so I'd like to think I did, but I didn't. If that makes any sense. Like, I used to think, like, oh, I'm gonna close everybody, and, blah blah blah. But then you learn. It's ignorance is, a funny thing, but, then you learn, well, what I've learned, with the, 5 steps, until they, actually come into the showroom. Then you're like, oh, like, no kidding, like, they really did all of this work just to come here, like, you know what I mean, like, to get to this spot right now. They, like, like, you know how are they not buying, like, if they've done all, like, because then you start thinking to yourself, like, yeah, like, actually, I kind of do that, like, and there's sometimes where, like, I was just shopping the other day with, my wife at the mall, and I'm the worst for, looking at something, and I'm just like, like, I can't do it. Like, I just can't do it. But, like, there's so many times where, like, the store person's helping me, and I'm like, oh, like, let's just say for shoes, for example, and they're so nice. Like, I really love them. And I'm like waiting for them to just say bye. Like, excuse me. Like, I just need someone to, like, nudge me. Like, you know what I mean? My wife, like, it's not the same as your wife. It's like, so you need someone different to just be like, just do it, man. Like,
But
and I'd be
you're
like,
so right. You just imagine if that guy said to you, how are you going to be paying for those? Cash,
it,
credit, or debit card?
Yeah, exactly. I would have been like, you know what, man, debit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. You just blurt it out. You don't even think.
yeah,
And then you, as you're swiping your card, you go, wait a second, wait a second, wait a second. Did I just buy these? I
exactly.
had
Yeah,
no intention of doing this. And they're like, yeah, congratulations. Enjoy the shoes.
yeah,
And you walk away and then you put them on, you start wearing them a couple of days. You go, why did it take me so long to do that?
yeah. No, 100%. And like, yeah, putting that into perspective with cars, it's like some of these people, like, a lot of these individuals, they've put in so much time and effort that, they just need that, extra bit of,
Well,
guidance to get across the line.
like the accountant, she wanted to be closed.
Yeah, 100%.
She did not want to invest any more money in that trade-in after having done that engine work.
Yeah,
And that's the tip of the iceberg, isn't it?
yeah,
There's a
100%.
transmission in that vehicle, there's a rear differential, there's a transfer case, there's a front differential, there's just belts and hoses and brake sensors and wear items and she just that was it.
Yeah,
But the last guy didn't have commitment,
yeah.
gave them a ridiculous number, made it really easy for them to shop around. Then they met a salesman. They met you. It
They sure
goes,
did,
every
man.
shopper's a buyer. Hey, don't worry about it, you guys. I'm here all day. Like, let's just take it out for a drive. If anything, you make
Well, it
my day
reminds
go.
me, it reminds me of that story you always say of your buddy with the like bikes or the ATVs, or I forget which one it is,
Oh,
but
he's awesome.
yeah, when he's like, man, just take it out, man. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
And I say no. I say no all
yeah,
the time to it, whether it's a side-by-side ATV or a snowmobile. I mean, he gets me on snowmobiles all the time.
yeah,
And he goes, just try it. Just try it, Harvs. And I think the last big snowmobile run we were on, and it's the snowmobile that I'm riding now in the garage. He said, just try it. And I go, no, no, you do this to me all the time. No,
yeah,
I'm not trying it. And everyone, there's 16 guys with it, and they're all laughing. They're dying to jump on it. And he's only offering it to me. And he goes, look, I want to compare your machine with the new one. Okay. So I don't
yeah,
care whether you buy it or not. I'm not trying to do anything to you. And he's seen the program. He's seen me talk about that. He laughs. He
yeah,
goes, I really did that? Or that really happened? I go, well, we're going on 12 machines now.
yeah,
And he laughs and he goes, yeah, I guess that's how. And it was smooth. It was great.
yeah. Well, that's
And
just
it,
it. There's no pressure, and like, you really understand. Like, when they really like, I have so many customers come in that are like, oh, like I don't need to drive it. I'm like, we're driving the car because once you get in, that's when everything starts feeling real. Like, that's the realness. Like, it's even like myself. Like, once you really, actually do it, like, that's when it becomes, emotionally, you know,
hey,
you're emotionally invested.
we're not going into a training session here, but I want to add this for anybody watching that when they say I'm not going to drive it, especially on a used car, try this as a hook. You go, you know what? If it isn't too much trouble and you've got 5 minutes and you could just go out with me in it, there's a clunk. There's a clunk, and I can't, I don't know where it's coming from, but if you don't mind going with me, and if you hear it, then we'll tell the service manager and we'll be able to identify it. And while they're out on the road and they're driving along, what are they doing?
Yeah. Trying to hear the clung.
And what is there?
No clung.
No clunk. And you look at them and they look at you and you look at them again and you shrug your shoulders and they go, where's the clunk? And you go, yeah, it's not there. Go up here and now they're on your demonstration driver. Take
Yeah.
this road. It's a little bit rough. And all of a sudden it's like, there's no clunk.
Yeah.
And what did you do? You're taking them through the activities that lead to the sale.
100%. Yeah.
And those are what we call the mismatchers. You've heard that term before, right? They're like, no, I don't want to drive it because I don't want to get emotional. I don't want to get excited about it.
Yeah.
And so you give them that mismatching type of sales presentation. Hey, there's a clunk. If you could just tell me what it's like. You get them on a new car, they go, no, I don't need to drive. Say, you know what? We just got this in. Nobody like the new Cherokee. We just got it in. No one's had a chance to drive it. I haven't even really gone out with anybody on it. Do you mind going
Yeah.
with me? Like we're not to put mileage on it until we've got a buyer if we can
Yeah.
just take it out. And he's like, okay, yeah. And then all of a sudden, you got them in the activities that lead to the sale.
Yeah.
That's where every shopper is a buyer. Okay, pal, this has been fantastic. You're amazing. Parting thoughts. What do you think of the manifesto now? You did it before, you didn't do it with conviction. Now you're doing it regularly. What do you think about it in term what's the advice you could give for anybody?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I think it's a magical tool, to be honest with you, and there's never a time that you can't use it.
Great. Great. Looks like
Um,
you've got an up there. I
yeah,
gotta
I
let you
do. I
go.
think I gotta let you go.
Fantastic, pal. Thanks so much. We'll talk soon.
But
Book a one-on-one.
I will.
Bye.